business. We control us. We run this. And anybody come in our house, they get dealt with. Respect is earned. Respect is never given. It's better to be respected than the hell with being liked. That's what y'all don't realize most of the time. We don't get this again. We don't get this again. The clock runs too fast. That's why we got to savor these moments. Because they right now. I couldn't understand that when I was 24 and 25. That's why God had to incarcerate me so I could see how great my blessing was that he had for me. So I had to come from a jail cell being in position to then step on a Super Bowl podium, man. I don't do this for me. I watch enough film so I can put myself in position to make my defense the best defense in damn football. That's why I come back every year.
Atlanta police say they've connected Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis to the double homicide in Buckhead. Two men were stabbed to death early last Monday morning after a Super Bowl party in a nightclub.
Lewis, investigators believe, participated in the assault by punching, beating, and stabbing the victims.
January of the year 2000, during the ecstatic peak of Atlanta, Georgia nightlife, in the wee hours of the morning after the Super Bowl matchup between the St. Louis Rams and the Tennessee Titans, future Hall of Fame NFL linebacker Ray Lewis was accused of participating in the ultimate act of violence, a double murder. You know what they say, nothing good happens after midnight, especially at 3:30 in the morning. 2 counts of murder, but ultimately ended in the conviction on charges of obstruction of justice related to the stabbings of Jacinthe Baker and Richard Lawler in Atlanta during Super Bowl week 20 years ago. Ray Lewis was only 24 years old in January 2000, but he was a star, an NFL linebacker clouded in a black and white suit and a black mink coat, which on that night was filled with celebrities, athletes, models, gang members, and of course, wannabes. Ray Lewis, like many others, was looking for a good time. He had his personal driver, Duane Fassett, chauffeuring a Lincoln Navigator, but not your typical Navigator. This was a 37-foot-long, 14-seat, $3,000 a day stretch limo. In that limo, with Lewis, was also a beautiful woman named Jessica Robertson. Not his pregnant fiancée, but a woman who he had met a few nights earlier at a party hosted by Magic Johnson. Around 1 a.m., early by Atlanta club scene time, he arrived at the Cobalt Club. But instead of taking a seat in the VVIP room, Lewis was on the first floor near the door so to catch the eye of anyone and everyone. Also with Lewis that night was Joseph Sweeting, a strip club promoter, who Lewis had known for several years since college, and Reginald Oakley, also a friend who had been around. The day before, these friends were also together, where Oakley and Sweeting had bought folding knives at a Sports Authority store while Lewis was conducting an autograph session. After several Remy Martin cognacs consumed by Lewis and other beverages that his friends and acquaintances drank, it was now 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and the entourage, that was around 10 people, including 4 women, headed out the door. According to eyewitnesses and court documents, Oakley was getting mouthy with a couple of guys from another room in the club, and then Oakley on the sidewalk outside the club got hit in the side of the head with a bottle of bubbly. As Ray Lewis said in a future testimony, all hell broke loose at that point. Everybody was throwing fists, everybody was punching. That is, everyone minus Lewis, who said he was observing while leaning against the Navigator while Sweeting, his friend, was assaulted by 2 rather large men. Lewis would testify, "I don't fight." However, during that fight, 2 young men lie on the street, pools of blood forming underneath them. The victims were Richard Lawler, 24, and Jacinthe Baker, 21. Now, they weren't upstanding citizens, both had police records, but nevertheless, no one deserves to die at a young age or in such a violent manner. Lawler had 5 stab wounds, 2 to the heart, 1 to the chest, and 2 to the abdomen. Baker was also stabbed straight through the heart and liver, and his face was in such disarray that there was a closed casket at his funeral. Both men were buried in Akron, a football hotbed located less than 30 miles away from the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Lewis, seeing how the incident had led to blood and perhaps death, called for his crew to return to the limo, tires squealing as gunshots rained on their exit parade. The limo returned to a Holiday Inn Express where Sweeting was staying, and Lewis took a cab back to his hotel, the Georgian, a 20th century Beaux Arts beauty of a hotel. In witness recounts, the limo driver, Fassett, told the authorities that he saw Sweeting, Oakley, and Lewis all fighting, and said he heard Oakley said, "I stabbed mine," and Sweeting making the reply of, "I stabbed mine too." When police opened the hotel room in Lewis's name, they found blood, but not Ray Lewis, as he had rushed to his fiance's family's home. At 6 a.m. after the murders, Ray Lewis phoned his female friend, Jessica Robertson, requesting that she go to the Georgian hotel and pack everything she had left in there. In recounts later on, Lewis told Miss Robertson and Robertson's brother to throw away a bag in his room that weighed about 4 pounds and made clanking noises. Witnesses said they saw men and a female exiting a large navigator with a bag of laundry which was thrown into a dumpster. The investigation unit never found the black and white suit or black mink coat Lewis wore that night. Lewis had the Baltimore Ravens and his own private investigator one step ahead in the investigation process. Eyewitnesses suddenly began to change their stories, and all who were part of Lewis's entourage were equipped with their own attorneys. The trial was 4 months later, in a time that Ray Lewis should have been in NFL minicamp in Baltimore. During the trial, the driver, Fassett, recounted his story. He said under oath that he never saw Lewis hit anyone, and in his book he would state, "I could not bring those 2 young men back. I had no hand in their deaths. I could not ease the suffering of those families, but I had so many blessings in my life. I told myself I could use some of those blessings for those good people. They were hurting. I was hurting. It was not an admission of guilt. It was an expression of love, of sympathy. I gave because I had it to give. I knew that money would never bring back what the families wanted most, but they asked for it, so I gave.